I'm here with Roy Petitfils. We're going to talk about his book, a subject that's been really near and dear to my heart, about anxiety and specifically teenagers. So tell us the story. It's an amazing story about why you wrote this book.
Yeah, I wrote the book 2 years ago. We were here at NCYC, and I did a workshop for teenagers called Too Blessed to Be Stressed. And it seated 1,000, but there were at least 1,000, maybe 2,000 more kids who couldn't get in, who wanted to get in. There were kids having panic attacks in the hallways because they felt like they needed it so much. And I went out there and I met with them. And after that workshop, I knew the need, right? None of those kids knew me. They didn't know me. I hadn't keynoted yet. I was going to keynote the next day. And it just told me how much they're struggling and I know how many parents and pastors and educators, youth ministers feel ill-equipped to help young people with this. And I didn't want to write another book, but my wife and I on the plane ride home, I was like, I think I need to write this book. And she goes, I do too. Yeah. And I outlined it, and St. Ave Maria Press was phenomenal.
Yeah. Great. It's just, such a struggle, particularly as people in ministry, you want to be able to say to somebody, well, just pray on that. But that's not quite the answer. We've got to have a couple of responses. So tell us about that.
That's a great question. Pray it away is something that, we don't really believe in the social sciences, right? Now, God, St. Thomas Aquinas tells us that God works through our grace, works through nature, right? And so the stress and the anxiety for these kids is we don't want to tell them to pray it away, but there are tools that we have in our Catholic faith that really help, like the rosary, going to liturgy, our history of contemplation. Those are all things that are effective. Ritual and liturgy. We've known for years in the social sciences that religion is a powerful coping mechanism for it. Now, just to say pray it away, no, but there are many aspects of how we practice our faith that are very therapeutic.
Just one of the ingredients, an important ingredient, for rooting ourselves,
no question.
And the meditative part in particular.
No question.
But like you said, in the social scientists, one of the things, when somebody writes a book, well, are you a doctor? No, but you know what? You've worked with teens. So tell us about your experiences.
Yeah, and I didn't go, I looked in the last few years. It was a part-time job to get my doctorate, and I didn't have $100,000. And I discerned that I didn't need it. I've worked with young people as an educator, school administrator, a youth minister, and for the last 15 years as a therapist in Lafayette, Louisiana. And I did that because in youth ministry, I didn't have the tools to help I saw the need. I'm a natural empath. And so I was like, I've got to go to school. And I went, and it's just been incredible. Yeah.
And how important that you did that. Like, it was so great seeing the kids approach you on the floor from 2 years ago. Let's face it, we think of kids with having no memory.
I know, but it's amazing what hits home for them. And, I'm not the most jazzy speaker, but the topic is so relevant. It's so relevant. We'll have a full house tomorrow. We're going to do a workshop on how to bless while you're broken in that anxiety. So how do we take the anxiety and be like Henry Nouwen called the wounded healer? Right?
For sure.
And they're hungering for it. They're in it.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's, all times are stressful, through the ages. But in particular now, kids are responding to all kinds of external influences.
And social media and the internet have created a lot of sociological and psychological realities that are very different from 10 years ago.
For sure.
Just that short time ago. And it is stressful. Teens aren't the only ones experiencing anxiety. Anxiety is the #1 most diagnosed health condition in America today.
It's amazing.
In our country and in several other countries, and not just first world country. So it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal, and adults struggle with it as well. And so some of what we talk about in there is how do adults who are struggling help young people who are struggling. And there are definitely ways to do it, and that's the mystery of grace.
Well, thanks so much for being with us, Roy. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Ms. Bonnie.
It's great to have you. Be sure and check out the book from Ave Maria Press. It's an important topic that we all struggle with. If you have teens in your life, check it out.